Kitang-kita natin dito na walang pinipili ang pagbatikos sa ating mga Pangulo. Si President Cory, ang kapatid at pamilya niya ang tinaguriang Kamag-anak Incorporated. Kay President FVR naman, ibang karelasyon ang nakialam na tinagurian nilang power brokers. Si President Arroyo naman, ang asawa niyang si FG, ang ikinabit sa mga maanumalyang proyekto. Habang nasa pwesto ang mga naging presidente natin after EDSA 1 and EDSA 2, ay inulan sila ng sunod-sunod na oposisyon, batikos at mga aligasyon. Kasama ang kanilang mga kamag-anak at mga kaalyado. Liban dyan, kahit ang legitimacy ng kanilang leadership ay question din. Namulat ang ating mga mata sa diskusyon tungkol dito. Parang pinapahina natin ang political will ng ating mga Pangulo sa patuloy na pag-question sa kanilang legitimacy. President Cory became president through a revolution. 7 kudita naman ang hinarap niya. President FVR was a minority president at na-question ang election results na umabot pa sa formal complaint ni Senator Miriam Defensor Santiago. Si President Arroyo naman ay tinanggap ng tao ang election results pero ilang ulit naman siyang naharap sa impeachment dahil sa Garci tapes. Ang buong detalye tungkol sa issue ng legitimacy of leadership. Panoorin po natin.
Ituwid natin!
Ngayon naman ang ating itutuwid ay may kinalaman sa presidential elections ng ating bansa. At makakasama naman po natin ngayon sina Mr. Joe Concepcion, ang founding chair of National Citizens Movement for Free Elections o tinatawag nating NAMFREL. At kasama rin po natin si Mr. James Jimenez, ang spokesperson of the Commission on Election o tinatawag din po nating COMELEC. At muli si Father Rani Aquino, ang Dean of the Graduate School of Law of San Beda College and Vice President for Academic Affairs of Cagayan State University.
Let's look back at the three presidents. Presidents Cory Aquino, Presidents Fidel Ramos, and President GMA.
Ituwid natin!
So what are the legitimacy issues between a president who wins an election by regular election versus a president who becomes president through a people power revolution?
It's always easier to go by the regular elections, but it has been a part of our history that these incidents have happened and we have had to deal with them.
James?
Well, as far as electing presidents are concerned, I think we should always prefer the constitutional mode, essentially elections. Why? Because elections really speak to the choice of the people.
When you have a regular election, the problem always arises. Were the votes counted properly? Are the results credible? But when you have a president who comes to power through a revolution, whether it be an extra-constitutional change, as in the case of Tita Cory, or an intra-constitutional change, as in the case of PGMA, you always have the issue of the legitimacy of the government itself, and often that goes up to the Supreme Court to be resolved.
The issue always is, does this person represent the people, or does this person represent merely the will of the revolutionaries? Whereas if you have an election, you have the opportunity to actually get everyone's stake on it. And that's the more important thing.
I, Corazon Cojuangco Aquino, do solemnly swear
When President Cory Aquino took power in 1986,
the data that we have, which incidentally is enshrined at LaSalle, showed very clearly the number of votes Cory Aquino had and the number of votes of the opposition that was returned. And it was very clear that she, by our count, won the election.
It was Marcos who was proclaimed by the Batasan Pambansa, so it was disputed in that respect.
If we will look back sa FVR administration, he was elected in 1992 sa ating first election based of the new 1987 Constitution.
Right.
Pero paano ba na-perceive yung legitimacy ng kanyang leadership as a minority president?
Well, he was a plurality president. And the constitution that allows this kind of thing, that's inevitable. No? So, people who made an issue out of his legitimacy, were fabricating an issue. There really was no issue. You had no choice. Under the way the things are, you will have a plurality president. Unless, of course, you have a system like a runoff, in which case then you'd have a clear majority. But the way the Constitution is crafted, you have no choice. You will have a plurality president. This does not detract from his legitimacy at all. To make an issue out of that is to fabricate an issue.
Si Miriam Defensor Santiago, who placed second during that election, protested alleging the widespread of fraud at that time, but later on she even ran, and nalo naman siya as senator. What can you say about that?
Well, I know very well what happened there, and I'll not elaborate in detail. But certainly, wrong that.
The term of President Arroyo, who came to power in 2001, replacing President Erap Estrada.
Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully and conscientiously fulfill my duties as President of the Philippines.
Then, she stood for elections and won in 2004.
During the time na natapos po ang EDSA DOS, she was accepted by the people as the new president. But why do you think that after 2004 elections na tumakbo siya at siya ay nanalo ay hindi naman tinanggap ng mga mamamayan nito? And in fact, they also, gave allegations na nagkaroon ng cheating when it comes to the voting.
I'd like to remind everyone that at that time, the results of the elections in 2004 actually was accepted, by everyone, basically because it reflected also everyone's expectations of that elections. There were several surveys by several very reputable sources saying that GMA would win by this spread, and that's exactly what happened.
We're starting to develop this very regrettable aspect of our culture na pag natalo ka, you say, I was cheated out of the elections. There were so many allegations of cheating, and very oratorical and dramatic ones at that. But there was really no hard and solid evidence that the elections were rigged in favor of the incumbent president.
If we will look back at the Hello Garci issue, ang sinasabi po nila ay marami din naman daw mga presidential balls ang tumawag. But then again, the most controversial call was the one that was made by PGMA.
That whole Hello Garci thing was much ado about really nothing.
That's what we're really, I guess, developing a tendency towards is the kind of pile-on politics, You find someone, something's wrong with them, you say something, that next thing you know, everyone's adding to that whole accusation business. And it was a very, very easy target, if you think about it. The mere fact that you called the referee, that was a very easy target. President herself did not make it easy. She apologized, and then that just added fuel to the fire.
It was a call, rather innocuous. She made a call to a COMELEC commissioner, probably asking how things were going. There was nothing at all in that tape to suggest that she was asking the commissioner to change the results of elections. So for me, it was much ado about really nothing, basically nothing.
In that regard, there was no proof about the Garci tape. No evidence was presented.
Naging dalawa po ang proseso ng pagkakahalal natin ng ating mga naging Pangulo. One is through revolution and the other one is just election. Para po sa inyo, what do you think is the right way?
As a normal process, as a normal thing, let's abide by the Constitution. Let's abide by the law. But when things become abnormal, oppressive, and it becomes impossible really to get the people's will, well, they always have that inherent right to rise against a government that is oppressive.
I quite agree with him. The result of the election must be respected. And unless it's proven otherwise, we must respect the result of the election.
So, salamat. Thank you, Mr. Namfrel, Joe Concepcion, our beloved Dean, Father Rani Aquino, and of course, our very famous Mr. James Jimenez of the COMELEC spokesperson. Dito po na ituwid natin ang tungkol sa legitimacy ng leadership issues.
Ituwid natin.